What did you think of the famous Al Gore movie?
Well, I mean, yeah. What do we think of the Al Gore movie? It's a piece of advocacy. It's a piece of advocacy.
Right.
He wants you to do something. He wants you to be worried.
Yeah.
And in doing so, he how to put it? He suggested some things that are maybe not necessarily true. So the opening montage with Hurricane Katrina bearing down on New Orleans was a big disaster, and there is some theoretical relationship between hurricanes and climate change.
Yeah.
But if you took away from that Hurricane Katrina and the devastation of Hurricane Katrina were a consequence of climate change, you would take away a wrong message, an incorrect message, and yet clearly many people took away that message. Or when Gore declares that within a few decades the fabled snows of Kilimanjaro may no longer be with us.
Right.
He doesn't mention that the glaciers on Kilimanjaro began receding in, I think, the 1920s or 1930s.
Yeah.
And it's one of the few glaciers that we're pretty sure does not have much to do with climate change.
Yeah.
But it's poetic, so it's got emotional truth, I guess.
Right.
We don't do emotional truth.
Yeah, and that's hard because you have something as incredibly complex and nonlinear as the climate. I mean, our models are just such paltry little caricatures of what's going on, and of course, embedded in them are assumptions that are always open to debate. And
right, but one thing that I've been doing this for quite a while, and one thing that impresses me is that when I wrote my first cover story on climate change for Time, it was in 1987, and at that time we had to say there was actually no evidence for climate change at this point, because there wasn't, and the models are they suggest certain things, but they're pretty crude.
Right.
And so, it's possible they're wrong. Well, 20 years later, we have a lot of evidence, actual evidence that things are warming up. And the climate models have become better, more accurate, more, and we've tested them out more thoroughly on the past. So, just as astronomers will do a simulation and make assumptions of what the early universe looked like, and then they'll look out in the sky and say, well, does the real universe look anything like that? If not, then it's a bad simulation.
Yeah, so retrodiction.
Retrodiction,
right?
And climate models have been doing that as well. And so
it is very similar in a lot of ways to Big Bang models of Big Bang cosmology. It's just that instead of being of merely intellectual interest.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so the direction of progress has been toward more confidence in what the models say.
Yeah.
Even though, as you say, there's still uncertainties.
Is there anything really good that's been written where somebody really did the real Karl Popper null hypothesis kind of thing and said, well, that I personally or our organization believes, or the consensus of most climatologists is that the globe is warming up and that it's likely to be human caused, and then just done, just everything they could possibly do to try to negate this.
Well, I think that climate models do that.
Yeah, it doesn't come across to the public.
No, I mean, for example, one of the popular objections to climate models is that, and there I think some people at Harvard and at Princeton who say this, is they say, no, don't be silly. It's the sun. The sun is the source of all the energy. It's the source of any temperature you've got anyway. Yeah. Obviously, it's the sun that's changing. Yeah. Didn't you think of that? And
sunspots.
Of course they thought of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course they've looked at the sun, and that's the first thing you do.
Yeah.
And it's been ruled out because of very precise satellite observations that have been going on for the last 30 years.
Right.
So yeah, the biggest test of whether somebody is to be trusted as a scientist is whether he or she tries to shoot down the theory.
Right.
And these are good scientists who are doing climate research. Yeah. They thought of that stuff.
Yeah. That'd be a great message to really really get across. Because
I agree.
I think part of the problem now is, all you have to do is say the word complex computer model, and especially after the recent economic collapse, the emotional response that has among the public is, this complex computer video game that probably is only loosely related to reality, and they couldn't even model the economy, and these financial derivatives. So why should we believe the climatologists can model the climate? And to get around that, if you just, I don't know, maybe something where you really took one of these models and had somebody dissect and annotate it in a way that could come across to a smart general reader.
Right. Actually, you remind me of something important I forgot to mention, which is that when we've done these pieces for the NewsHour, and when we do other pieces eventually, we put the script online and we annotate the script in detail. So that we don't simply say, the sea level is going to rise a meter. We tell the readers why we feel justified in saying it.
Oh, that's
great. And that's one thing that you would never do in an ordinary piece of journalism.
No. God, there should be so much more of that.
And there's some of those on our website now. So you should take a look.
Yeah, we'll definitely link to that. This sounds great.